So yeah, both players obviously extremely good. Dark, one of the best ZVT players. Cure actually also, I would say, his TVZ is pretty insane. While I see that sometimes he struggles a little bit in TVP, I would say his TVZ is super strong. And yeah, absolutely. He in the recent history, in a couple of months ago, maybe within a year, I would say he came up with some pretty nice polished builds that and then later people started to copy, including here in Europe. We when I coach Soul, we stole a couple of builds from Cure. And most importantly, I would say it's his 3cc into double racks into starport, you know. So you go to some kind of 2-on-1 or even 3-on-1 sometimes, but you do it off of 3cc and sometimes 2, sometimes 4 hellions, sometimes even 6, right? And this kind of builds, while maybe nowadays they're slightly less popular because they to some extent have been figured out a little bit, since Zerg mostly just needs to build tons of drones and it should be fine. But in the past, before Zerg fully adapted to it, Cure was our mentor, Cure was our teacher. So we tried to steal the builds from him. And yeah, still, I would say he has one of the most polished, nice builds, and definitely a very strong player. I would say to some extent Cure is still not that, you know, like the toppest of tops, like Dark, for example. But he's absolutely very super strong contender to most of tournaments anyway. But yeah, I haven't seen him win any big tournaments actually. So yeah, well, if you want to hear my opinion why, I would say that Cure is just extremely solid, but he lacks that spark, you know, that spark of genius, that spark of unpredictability. You know, he sometimes also I feel like when you look at his moves, most of the time they're just good, you know, but they're never like super awesome great, you know. So everything he's doing is just proper, but it's just it, you know. So sometimes I would say there's not enough of that genius in him. Well, let's see if that's gonna be the case in this series. Obviously, having a nice series against Dark is already, in my opinion, very impressive. So let's see if Cure is going to be able to manage it or not. Okay, so we've got 330 Roach Warren, which is early Roach Warren. Normally you want to get, if you play passive, if you want to play defensive, I would say you get Roach Warren around 4-minute mark, maybe even slightly later. But 330 suggests to me that the Dark is interested in some push. It doesn't have to be just an all-in, because Zerg has a plethora of different roach pushes, right? Like where you can go for just a couple of roaches and push Hellions back. You can go for a bit more roaches and try to do some damage and then drones behind this. Or then you can also go for full Roach Ravager link all-in. And yeah, I would say we can deduct what's gonna happen based on the drone count and on the gas count of Dark. So he actually got quite early second gas, but if you want to go for full Roach Ravager link all-in, you generally go for 3 gases because you need a lot of Ravagers, because you want to break the bunker, right? You need to have 5 or 6 Ravagers to bile down the bunker without repair, preventing killing the bunker. So you need a lot of gas for that, basically. But it seems Dark is absolutely completely fine and happy with just yeah, 3 roaches. Okay, 3 roaches. I'm not sure if he even showed them, but yeah, maybe he is trying to experiment a little bit more with, you know, rogue style, with the, well, isn't really rogue style, but, you know, the 66 drones, mass roach ravager, and you just go for it and try to kill the Terran. Or maybe he is thinking about the roach hydra lurker into Vipers, which showed up recently in, well, maybe, again, this is not something new, but it's getting popularity in ZVT, where you just go roaches, then hydras, and then lurkers, and then Vipers. And I'm honestly not a fan of that at all. We've seen Rogue recently lose 3-0, I think, or 3-1 to Innovation, and then also to Cure when he tried to go for that Roach Hydra Lurker style. So I'm not sure what's all that about. Why is it so popular in Korea? I feel like honestly Link Bane is doing just fine against Terran, but who knows? We'll see. These Hellions are actually getting a little bit done here. Yeah, okay, 4 or 5 workers. We've got, so what build was that from Cure? It was, I think, yeah, it was mostly just two base Banshee into relatively fast third, but not the fastest third. And this kind of build needs to deal damage, so at least I would say, yeah, it has to kill around 10 workers to make the game, I would say, somewhat even, you know? So, yes, we've got 9 workers here, but I would say, yeah, this is, it doesn't decide anything, it's just damage that Terran has to deal to make the game even, you know, so yeah. Okay, relatively late 4th base because of that. Dark lost quite a bit of workers. Maybe he's not interested in taking a 4th though, let's see. Yeah, okay, there we go, 645. I've seen that Raynor, for example, or Serral are pushing it to limits. They even get 4th base around 5:15, 5:30. Even a 5-minute mark, although that's a little crazy. And here we've got a quite late one, but I assume it's because of the damage that Cure did and also the build that he went for. And yeah, ooh, actually look at this. These Marines are killing quite a bit of roaches. This is, I think it's quite, yeah, it's pretty good trait for Cure, absolutely, yeah. This is exactly what I was talking about. These pushes from Cure with 2 medivacs, a bunch of Marines, they deal more damage than others, like from other people. So yeah, well, the 4th has been saved and the worker count for Dark is still, well, it's not looking great. So yeah, I would give absolutely an edge here for Cure. Let's see, he's bleeding a little bit too many Marines, maybe. You know, Roaches to some extent are just replaceable, while Marines, Terran really counts on them when it comes to, you know, some map control and stuff like that. But yeah, generally Roach Ravager is a composition that has a lot of power at this stage of the game, so the fact that Cure manages to deal damage, I would say, yeah, suggests that he's in a great spot here. Okay, so behind this he's also getting Infestors, which obviously Infestor Ravager, even against Protoss we've seen that's a pretty nice combo, and in Europe it was mastered by Nercho. He loved to play Roach Ravager Infestor, and I think Scarlet also used to play it quite a bit, or maybe still plays. So yeah, it's a style that exists. And okay, we've got Lurkers, so it's Infestors into Lurkers. That's very interesting. So he skips Hydras to some extent, so it's kind of like a Roach Ravager into Infestors. I'm not sure into Lurkers. I'm not sure I've honestly seen this a lot or at all. So yeah, that's quite interesting. Like generally people try to play Hydras. But yeah, so look, the problem with this style, yeah, so okay, so the way Dark plays it is actually, I would say, a little better than Rogue, because Rogue was generally just getting owned by 2-2 Marine tank push, and here, I guess with these Infestors, the bio units shouldn't be too good. And here, nice, very nice, he managed to catch Terran before he manages to siege up, which is a big deal, obviously. Like, if that army was fully siege up and press split, I think it would mean a lot of trouble for Dark, but catching the Terran army before it's getting sieged up, it's always ideal way to basically deal with these kind of pushes. So again, Dark, masterful usage of his units. So even though he's in pretty bad macro shape, he just makes wonders with his units always, and he still should, yeah, he's looking like he wants to stabilize the situation, and it seems like he's fine, even though 63 workers at 9-minute mark is a pretty rough spot to be in. So Dark is going for Vipers, and yeah, I wonder, are we gonna see Lurkers as well? So again, Infestor plus Lurker, which is very interesting. I wonder, okay, drones on strike, yeah, they demand better living wages. Okay, and yeah, the question is what Cure is gonna do about these Lurkers, right? Because you can deal with Lurkers in many different ways. You can try to out-multitask Zerg, you can go into Liberators, you can go into tanks, you can go tank Ghost, you can even go Ghost Liberator, or sometimes some people even go tank Liberator Ghost, you know, so that could work too. Here we've got the double factory tank so far, which is, I would say, maybe possibly not enough eventually, because Vipers should just blinding cloud or abduct the tanks, and then the rest should generally just die to lurkers. So let's see. And also look at this, Cure is pushing from 2 angles, so that's quite interesting. The army from Dark is very, very strong, but it's also extremely immobile, I would say, right, in comparison to Bio. Oh, these Fangals, so all that Bio is red. Again, look at this, right, like Dark pounces on Cure before Cure is really sieged up and ready. So Dark is essentially camping on 4 bases, so you get 4 base situation against 4 base, which generally should favor Terran, although in this situation I would say that it's possibly acceptable for Zerg, because Zerg can trade extremely effectively in this kind of situation. So alright, let's see if that's gonna be the doom drop from Cure here. I would say that, yeah, so this multitasking style that Cure chose is pretty good until some point, because eventually the critical mass of lurkers is gonna happen. Also there's gonna be a lot of Vipers and stuff, and yeah, this is very nice try, and actually he kills a lot of stuff here, and also the 3rd base is being attacked. So yeah, it seems actually Dark didn't manage to hold this. Yeah, GG. Okay, yeah. So let's see. I would say that Link Bane of Dark is so good that can absolutely easily win with that. I wonder, all of this, what is happening here, maybe this is some kind of meta response to still the nerf of Banelink, right? This is a thing that I would say that has a big influence on how Zergs play, right? Because it was the most, you could have felt this the most in ZVP, right? Where, well, Banelings didn't kill entire Protoss army immediately anymore. But against Terran, this nerf was surprisingly big as well, right? Because nowadays, when Zergs play Mutalink Bane, they face Thors, they face Marauders, and then it becomes a little bit of a trouble to deal with them, because, well, Links most likely just die to splash, and Banelings don't deal that much damage to armored anymore, you know. So I assume this could be a little bit of a move towards trying to replace Banelink as a main staple unit against Terran, which is, well, it's a first thing in 10 years that this happens, right? Like, Banelink was always almost a staple with, well, I mean, as I said, there were moments when people played Infestors, I guess, and also Infestor Ravager, but still, it was still not, you know, 100% the most popular thing to do. So, who knows, maybe that Banelink nerf, you know, in Europe, still, I would say Banelings dominate. But maybe Terran, Korean Terrans, maybe they abuse Zerg so much that they feel like they have to do something else rather than just go for Banelings. Who knows? Who knows? That's definitely interesting. Let's see if this was just one game, or is it a new trend? Because in Korea, yeah, as I said, I've seen this Roach Hydra lurker thing, and it doesn't win too much, but. Well, let's see. Okay, so Cure, what do we go for here? Yeah, well, just it seems standard 1-1-1, 2 base. So I'm generally of an opinion go 3 base or die trying as a Terran, because you know, it's just like you have to deal so much damage if you play 2 base, right? Obviously you can, and you have tools and stuff, but on the other hand, against these best of best Zergs, okay, is that gas really? It finished, okay. Alright, Dark struggles to take a third a little bit and takes the other one. The layout, like, this is so funny that on these maps nowadays there is so much debate on how to expand, and I've seen Zergs expand in absolutely very weird ways, so I'm not sure I like that third. It seems it's relatively popular in Europe, where people like Elaser and to some extent even Serral, I would say they don't expand in line, but they expand in triangles. And their arguments for it are actually completely solid, right? Yeah, here this is the spot where Overlord just dies. So the argument is that you are able to spread creep much more towards the middle of the map, you know, and that's a very powerful argument. Obviously, creep is basically a thing that decides the games, right? But ZVT, but at least. But on the other hand, the problem with expanding like this is that this is a triangle, right? And triangle expansions can be abused big time by air units, right? Because look at this, right? Like going from main base to the third base of Dark with queens is a nightmare, but banshees can jump between the bases very, very easily, right? So this is always very tough to deal with, especially, you know, also battle cruisers, stuff like that, you know. So so it's always a debate whether you should expand like this or not. But look at this. On the other hand, Dark has really nice creep at this side of the map, at least. So, as I said, there's a debate. Some people prefer to expand in line to just not be hurt by the air harassment that much, and some people don't care about this. So, let's see if Cure is going to be able to abuse it in some way. He is going for Banshees, right? So Banshees relatively easily should be able to jump between main and third, and we will see very, very shortly. And also quite fast armory, so this looks like some kind of Hellbat push maybe as well, which is quite interesting. And or maybe with the mind drop? No, it has to be Hellbat. Yeah, look at this, this is still tons of hellions being produced, so that is going to strike very, very strongly. And now the entire question here for Dark is, does he have Banelings or not? Because Bane Nest, if he has Bane Nest, he should be ahead. If he doesn't, then, well, that's pretty tough spot to be in, you know. So, okay, now he gets it, but that's, I think, too late. Generally, I would say, like, you should get your Baning Nest against Hellion openings between 4 and 5 minute mark. Going for 6, obviously, I understand that he tries to get fast upgrades here, but it's always a tiny bit of a gamble. So, let's see if he's going to get punished or not. On the other hand, with some amazing micro and tons of queens, you are able sometimes to beat this many Hellbats. So let's see, I'm very curious to see if Dark is gonna hold this, because this is, yeah, this is a tough spot to be in. Okay, he burns tons of links already, but yeah, it's very important to remember that it's also very, very costly for Terran to execute an attack like this, and it seems like Dark doesn't care. Okay, yeah, this is the kind of micro I was talking about. He just splits his queens perfectly, links from every angle, and now Cure is in trouble because, as I said, this is a big investment for Terran because you delay absolutely everything. Look at this, the upgrades for Dark are already done, I mean 1-1, and while for Cure they are halfway done, and there's no units, I think Cure is, well, I guess Dark is throwing a little bit here. These links, I guess, right? But still, I would say that it's in quite okay shape. Yeah, so look at this, like the fourth and fifth barracks is being produced just now, which is extremely late. And okay, there's a second factory, so that's nice. But generally, any kind of serious push right now is significantly delayed because of the opening that Cure went for. And also, he's going for Blue Flame, which is very, very interesting. But again, against Blue Flame, honestly, you just need more Banelings and that's it, right? So, not a huge fan of that, but let's see, maybe it's gonna surprise me. Sometimes Zergs just don't produce enough Banelings to kill this kind of style. But yeah, he still builds 3 Hellions at the time. This is old stuff, guys. Like this has been a thing. Like in Wings of Liberty, maybe Heart of the Swarm, it has been popping up left and right sometimes by these a little more creative Terrans. But Blue Flame, yes, like Terran needs some kind of splash against Zerg, right? So either it's mines or tanks. You could say that Blue Flame Hellions are this kind of splash, but it's just worse kind of splash, you know, because it instantly dies. If you have enough Banes, you know, so, well, let's see, you know, it's Cure, so he's good, so obviously he has some kind of a plan, but If there is going to be, assuming there's gonna be enough banelings, I think Dark should be absolutely in pretty okay spot. Like generally when I see something like this from a Terran, I'm happy as a Zerg, you know, like I just built 20 Banes more than normal, and okay, nice run by from Dark. Yeah, these kind of run bys with speed Banes, okay, and yeah, this is basically what I expected to happen, just banelings and creep rolling this this kind of composition. Yeah, this might be, you know, something fresh for newer players, but it's been around, guys. So, and it has been figured out, and there's a reason why people don't play like this. And especially, okay, yeah, this is the this is the reason. Okay. Yeah, well, yeah, I think this is yeah, looking pretty rough for Cure. I think, well, obviously he's not dead yet, maybe, because obviously killing a Terran is very difficult in general, but Dark doesn't need to kill him right now. He's got 93 workers, so he's gonna build bank, he's gonna chill on creep, and eventually once he gets to some nice tech like ultras or something, it's going to be a tough time for Cure. But yeah, it doesn't look too hot for our Terran, Korean Terran. And yeah, Dark doesn't even bother going any kind of mutas or whatever. He just knows all he needs to do is just build banelings, because the army that currently Cure has is just dying to banelings very, very hard. And also we've got lurkers, which obviously are very good against marines and hellbats as well. So link bane into lurkers, honestly I like that much more. I've seen that Raynor and Serral, whenever they play, they generally go Link Bane into Lurkers, and I think that's super strong, because Link Bane is just better than Roaches, I think, in general, you know, so especially on creep, right? So yeah. Okay, well, it seems like maybe I was crossing Cure off a little bit too early. There's not that many banelings, so suddenly, okay, there are the Banes. Suddenly once Dark runs out of Banes, he just dies, right? So it's just very, very important. A nice press split from Marines. Okay, huge run by as well with Lynx. Okay, Blue Flame Hellion in this situation actually does fine. So it seems the idea of Cure is to just attack in so many places, force fight in so many places, that it's going to be difficult for Zerg to have banelings in every location and stuff like that. But yeah, okay, well, it's two base Terran actually, so this is going to be very, very tough for Cure to do anything. Okay, nice, he's getting a bunch of drones, actually quite a lot of them, so this is a start, he still has quite a bit of bank, but yeah, I think the damage is just a bit too big. Yeah, okay, if there's no Banes, and honestly, like, the micro from Cure is quite amazing. When I was talking about Wings of Liberty, Hellbat, Marine, the guys didn't have that good micro back then, so Cure is actually getting quite a lot of done when it comes to this composition, but still, well, I think still it's looking very, very good for Dark. He manages to deny the 4th base, and also he's got, well, twice as many workers as the opponent, so this is quite a big deal. So yeah, 4 bases against, well, 3, I guess 3, but 41 workers, you know, so, and lurkers. There's no answer to lurkers here, so this is looking quite rough for Cure. Yeah, look at this, masses of units, swarms of the Zerg, and there's just nothing going on for Cure here. Not at all. Or is there some... I don't know, I don't see anything. I see only... nothing at all, guys. Just darkness. Obviously, and there was no pun intended. So, yeah, okay, we've got the first tank, and Cure actually pulls his main base to the command center to the 4th. So, technically he still has some fresh minerals and stuff like that, but Dark is maxed out, and on top of this he also has a bit of a bank, so he can do a nice remax as well. So I think that, yeah, I think this is looking very, very good for Dark. But yeah, Ling Bane is a composition that, ooh, look at these volleys from these hellions. Yeah, this is quite sweet. But yeah, as a Terran, it's quite, as a Zerg, I guess, it's quite difficult to kill off a Terran that is camping off creep, you know, like, look at this, like, these Marines are trading insanely efficiently. Eventually, he's going to overpower it, but, okay, GG, 1-1, Dark. So Cure, obviously, a little bit cheeky here. He is going for proxy Raxus, which obviously is not a... it's just a macro opening, honestly. Obviously it has to deal a little bit of damage, right? But 2 Rax proxy, absolutely a normal thing. I wouldn't even call it cheese, honestly. It's just a pressure build. And it seems Dark already immediately sees it, so he is in quite comfortable spot. Although he made enough drones so that he is still going to build a pool at 18, so that's not super comfortable. But damaging, even damaging SCVs right there would be very, very nice, because the main goal of Zerg defense here is to just kill SCVs. Because then he cannot build bunkers, and then you are, yeah, okay. This is, I think this is a Korean sign for love. So yeah, no, actually these SCVs managed to take almost no damage for now, but obviously starting a bunker is going to be a bit difficult. So yeah, this attack, once bunker is finished and full of Marines, it actually is kind of over for Zerg. But on the other hand, if bunkers are not up at all, then generally Zerg is ahead, you know? So this is a little bit binary. Obviously there might be some micro, like it assumes that the micro from both sides is equal, relatively equal, right? So 3 drones are trying to chase, get 1 Marine, and yeah, here I don't think Cure really hopes for much. But yeah, on the other hand, this is, yeah, he actually might kill a couple of drones. I think if you kill like the 4 or 3, then you're already ahead. And yeah, he's killing, well, what Dark? Okay, I think he went way too far. If you want to do things like this, you absolutely need to pull more drones, because he actually pulled not enough for, I've seen Rogue sometimes, he just goes like 16 drones and then chases all the Marines down, and drones alone kind of just shut this down. But here, 7 workers dying for Zerg is Terran being ahead. Is Terran being ahead, unless these things actually cancel the factory, because he's he ran away with them very, very quickly. So this might be a pretty weird game, because Spine is going to be probably maybe too late. Factory might have some problems to complete. I guess not. It seems like Dark just happily pulls back. No, he like a little indecisive with the links, I guess, which allows the factory to, I would say, happily finish, I guess. Yeah, so obviously the Hellion is gonna clean this up, and there's the Spine. Is this done? Not yet, and there's 10 links in production, but there is no speed. So honestly, as I said, like losing 7 workers is a very, very big deal, and the Spine is getting shot down. No, it survives. Yeah, it seems on the other hand that this situation kind of maybe equalizes a little bit. Or maybe not, I don't know. It's hard to say who's ahead right now. I would say I would still slightly favor maybe Cure, but Dark on the other hand, the Spine finished, so the aggression is pretty much over. But it's going to be very, very difficult for Dark to do to grab a 3rd base, to do anything, right? Because you need speed for links to surround these Marines. You need maybe more queens to push them back. You need creep. You need maybe even roaches, but there's none of these things around, because Dark has to just replenish his number of drones, because he lost so many at the beginning. So yeah, I think this is looking quite okay for a Cure. And in Korea, they quite often follow this up with just a Hellion drop, right? Because quite natural answer to this is delaying speed for links, because Zerg just kind of doesn't, is not able to afford speed for links and also defend this nicely. So Hellion drop can be actually very powerful, because there's most likely no speed for links. And yeah, okay, so let's see if Dark is going to be aware of this. Is he going to be prepared? I assume he played so many times against this that he knows that this is a follow-up very popular in Korea. And then there's even another step, right? So these kind of builds, they are so strong that because they are able to just apply like so much pressure with so many steps, you know. So first Marines, then Hellions, then Banshees, and some crazy players sometimes even go for BC, you know. So which you know, might not be that terrible because you can just it's very difficult to scout main base of Terran if there's so many Marines inside. Okay, so here we go with the drop, and yes, this is still 2 base Zerg, right? So 2 base Zerg against 2 base Terran. We all know this is pretty okay for Terran, right? This is actually 3 base Zoun Terran. So yeah, and Dark, as I said, 7 drones. It just set him so far behind. But we've seen already a couple of times that Dark is able to, even though he might be behind, he still might come back in some miraculous way. And yeah, he's already doing it, guys. Like he found a complete huge hole in the build of Cure. Again, this shows, I think, extreme knowledge and intelligence of Dark, that he just knows that once Terran goes for the Hellion drop, he doesn't have much at home if the Marines are not there. So just a couple of random slow leads caused a lot of pain to Cure, and it enabled Dark to just grab a third happily. So yeah, this was quite amazing run by, I would say. Okay, so Roach Ravager, it seems, is on the menu. Mass Roach Ravager maybe even. We'll see. So +1/+1, but the main strength of Roach Ravager is obviously just overwhelming the opponent. And in this case, the problem is that Dark might struggle to overwhelm Cure, because obviously this is just 2 hatches, right? So like there's just not even enough larva and income to just build like swarms of roaches. So the way, for example, Rogue that he does it is just tons of Roach Ravager. And then after he trades, you know, ineffectively, but still deals a lot of damage, then there's another wave of 200 roaches, and then that's usually the second wave that kills the Terran. And in this case, we absolutely won't see it, because just there's not enough larva banked, there's not enough money in the bank as well. But it seems like Dark is, yeah, he is thinking about just all-inning, just 46 drones. I'm not sure if you guys remember Tefel. This was some kind of an attack like he liked to do, around 45 workers, 44, 2 base saturation, just mass roaches. Yeah, let's see if this is gonna work. I don't know. Let's see, because there's not that many tanks. Is Cure really expecting it? Does he have Steam? Not yet, but soon. No combat shield as well. So this might actually be tough, because if he's yeah, look at this. Okay, yeah, this might be tough. Okay, so Banshee is gonna deal a lot of damage, and that Steam just managed to finish. But every Steam is going to be extremely painful for Cure, because he hurts his own units. He's no medivacs just yet. The tanks gets biled down, and yeah, okay, the tank from the high ground is dealing so much damage. There is no overseer with this army, so he cannot bile that tank down. And I think barely, but barely, Cure holds. But 60 workers against 23 guys. So is this a hold? I guess technically yes, but in practice 23 workers is a lot of trouble for Cure. He's not going to be able to easily replenish his army, and 14 roaches on the way, 5 even drones as well. But mules, guys, mules are good in these situations. This is generally equivalent of 11.5 workers, I think. So if we add this is Cure at around 40 something. So if he is very cost effective with tanks, and Dark doesn't have, for example, Overseer again, and he gets some medivacs also, because we still don't have medivacs, then maybe there's a chance for Cure. But I'm heavily, obviously, in this situation leaning into Dark's favor, because yeah, economy doesn't lie, guys. 66 workers is just a lot. So Dark will be able to even max out and reasonably quickly, but I don't think Cure has any chances of that anytime soon. Yeah, combat shield about to finish, so basically once the combat shield is finished, this is the moment where roaches stop being super good against marines, because like this is sometimes underrated how good roaches are against marines at early stages of the game, because if you steam, you are basically like a zergling when you steam marine without combat shield, right? So that's 35 HP or something like that, so roaches just kill this very quickly, just kind of like roaches kill lynx. So once combat shield is up, then this is basically a moment where the zerg might need to consider being a bit more safe and cautious. Okay, so we also have a bunch of marauders here with concussive shells being done soon. Obviously that's good, marauders are pretty okay. Some people just like to play just pure marine tank, but marauders obviously pretty okay as well against roaches. But yeah, look at this. This is, well, the economy is kicking in from Dark. This is 70 workers, and he's switching actually into Banes, which is very interesting, or maybe not, I don't know yet. But he is getting speed for links, melee upgrades as well, so maybe he's gonna... I have no idea what this is, because maybe this is just a misclick, right? I don't know, maybe he's going ultras? But why would he get Hydras then? Yeah, well, we'll see in a second. Okay, now I think he cancelled, yeah, so this was a misclick. So yeah, he's gonna just fully stick to this Roach Hydra Viper composition. Okay, nice try, but it's super hard to kill Medivacs with Biles. Alright, so he's maxed out, and this is his moment, but it seems that he doesn't want to go for any kind of all-in just yet. He just wants to go for a late game, which is obviously very solid choice, as Zerg is generally pretty good in late game, but he might give Cure the chance to max out soon. So maybe Cure might have a timing attack before Lurkers are out, when both players are almost maxed out, and that's generally quite good for the Terran, because the quality of units favor the Terran a little bit more. Although the Lurkers are going to be quite soon out, which means that the quality disadvantage is going to very quickly disappear and actually change, maybe in favor of Dark even, because, well, you all know what Lurkers do to Bio, and that is murder them. Okay, so +3/+3, also so upgrade advantage, some Hydras, yeah, so it seems like Cure is just hoping to go for one big massive push with tanks. He might not even know about Vipers yet. Okay, now he does, and yeah, he wants to build a lot of tanks, but obviously Vipers are quite good against them. Okay, yeah, this is nice trade. Any kind of trade that Dark does right now is super good, because a player that has more economy wants to trade, to some extent even ineffectively, right? Like 1-1 trade if you've got twice as big income or something like that. In this case it's only third bigger, I guess, but still any kind of trade right now is a good thing for Dark, because it just furthers his money advantage in the longer run. A very nice idea, counterattack, because yeah, once you've got Lurkers, this is a concept from ZVZ to some extent as well, where you've got Lurkers defensively, it's very tough to break you, so why not just go and use the rest of the units you have to attack somewhere else? And suddenly these barracks are gonna have to get cancelled, and if he was very frivolous, he would be able to even maybe go on top of the production of Cure. But on the other hand, there's just not that many of these Lurkers, so this is still this is the chance for Cure. Maybe Dark went a little bit over eager with that run by. Lurkers don't have any support, but yeah, it seems like the supply is still dropping rapidly for Cure, so Cure barely gets health with enough Lurkers, and at home the run by is killing every single unit that comes out of production. He is killing SCVs, so I think this was nail in the coffin. Very nice run by. Like, run bys against Terran are just the most powerful tool that you can have as a Zerg, because Zerg, yeah, Terran, it's very difficult to micro into locations as Terran, obviously, right? So Zerg forces the Terran to make choices when it comes to micro, and that's always very, very difficult. On top of this, also a runby like this forced Cure to be much more aggressive than possibly he wanted to be, because you don't really want to go so hastily into lurkers or on creep in general. So Terran pushes are the strongest when they are done patiently, you know, where you just slowly siege up tanks further and stuff like that. And in this situation, Cure had to just move everything forward, and that's usually a good thing for Zerg. Okay, so we got 3 lurkers still here, so yeah, okay, he's pulling them back. So still Cure is trying. Look at the army supply. This is still a very scary army, but I would say Dark's army is just scarier. There's so many lurkers here, and yes, there's no mining for Cure, so right now I think we are getting close to just Cure. Well, dying guys, dying. 89 supply against 177, so GG, there we go. Dark wins game number 3. So yeah, look at this. Dark, even though he took quite a bit of damage in previous games, 7 drones, he still managed to win. I would say to some extent quite convincingly. He just did a very nice run by in good moment, and when there was a Hellion drop attempt. And yeah, these kind of run-bys, they're absolutely great. So maybe this is the way to even counter this build, right? Because this was just build breaking what Cure had to survive there. Okay, so it seems the overload is actually going towards the barracks, so it seems Cure is going to get spotted. However, it's going to be relatively late, so at least Dark is not going to get surprised, but still slightly, yeah, I would say this is still better than not knowing this, obviously. Sometimes players tend to go maybe even above 90 workers, and or sometimes they just don't scout the bunker, which, as I said before, is absolutely detrimental. Look at this, 4 only drones left, so this time Dark pulls much more drones, and that's a very, very strong move against, yeah, okay, targets down the bunker right away. 2 Marines against 16 drones or 14 drones, I'm not sure how many this is. He gets a spine. Okay, let's see. Okay, so many drones are chasing these Marines, so no matter how godlike the micro is going, yeah, full surround on the Marines. Okay, not, actually not. So this is pretty close, but still, 2 Marines die, which is a big deal because the spine is about to finish. There are queens and links, and the Dark is so confident, look at this, that he even starts droning right now, so that's pretty crazy. But the bunker is about to finish, which is quite dangerous, so let's see, yeah, Cure actually is going to get inside, but the bunker, the positioning of the bunker is quite awkward. 7 drones falling, by the way, a little awkward, because the most powerful bunker like this is when it's within the range of the hatch. But since Dark has managed to block it for so long, there was so much creep that the bunker was just so far away, and that's not ideal, because, well, they're just looking at each other. The spine crawler looking at the bunker looking at the spine crawler, and nothing happens really, which obviously Cure just realizes what's going on and decides to, well, abandon the outposts. That money would be better spent elsewhere, obviously as a natural base, for example. And Dark, very interesting, goes for a Roach Warren, so maybe he is interested in some kind of all-in. Generally, Roach all-ins are basically a killer of 3 racks builds, but against 2 racks builds, generally Cyclone is able to be out so quickly that that these kind of pushes shouldn't work. But on the other hand, I don't know, maybe there is an idea, like, I guess Cure, maybe the fact that there must be a trigger for Dark that he went for something like this. The question is, what kind of trigger? Is it just he thinks that Roach pushes work against 2 racks? Which would be quite surprising, because they generally don't. if Terran's ready, right? But there is a big thing that's happening here. Cure is building a lot. I think that I might know what is the trigger. Basically, Cure is building Marines for a very long time, which means he doesn't pull the barracks up, which means that he doesn't scout with these barracks. You generally want to scout with these barracks to see what kind of follow-up is Zerg doing out of these two bases. Is he going for, you know, two base Nidus, two base Mutas, and here this trait also not really ideal for Cure at all. And yeah, and now he is a little bit surprised, and now he's panically just building a tech lab somewhere, so he's teching into Banshees. But the thing that defends this is generally not Banshee, but actually Cyclone, because Banshee might not be on time. Although, well, let's see. It seems like Banshee should be on time, maybe to defend the main base. There's a bunker there, but the build time of Banshee is actually surprisingly big, guys. So, okay, there are some mines, and bunker didn't finish, and there's no Marines inside because all of them actually are still out on the map or just died. So the Hellions, okay, the Medivac being targeted, always the best choice, super nice. Okay, and yeah, what's going on with these roaches? Oh, tons of drones is being roasted here, guys. So yeah, but he just walks in. Okay, he kills the Banshee. No way, he killed the Banshee. If that Banshee was alive, I think Cure wins, guys. Or maybe not wins, but it's generally fine. But without that Banshee, oh my god. Yeah, that's over, guys. That's over. This is going to be huge damage. The Biles kill the mines as well. And that's it. Okay, well, that's it. Okay.